And welcome back, folks. It's time for the Malzberg panel. And joining us on said panel, Jane Velez-Mitchell, founder of JaneUnchained.com and author of the New York Times bestseller Exposed, The Secret Life of Jodi Arias. And Adam Thompson, senior partner and owner of the law offices of Adam M. Thompson. And also, he happens to be a syndicated talk show host. Okay, let's start, Adam, with the fact that the shocker of the day, Kevin McCarthy dropping out of the race for Speaker of the House.
Yeah, that is pretty shocking because everybody really expected him just to accept it and step in. He seemed to have the votes to get over the top. He needed 218. They had him in the low twos. It seemed like it was pretty much a done deal. So when he drops out now, this opens up the whole bag. Who's going to fill in? Who's going to step in? No one really knows. There's a few other people possibly out there vying for it. But does Paul Ryan step in now at the urging or someone else that we never even thought about? So this is a big day in D.C. because this was very unexpected.
What about it, Jane?
I think it's very healthy. I think what you're seeing is a sea change disruption in politics as usual, and it involves the extreme left and the extreme right. Basically, everybody who isn't the 1% is rising up and saying enough with our morally corrupt government. I heard a conservative Republican congressman today, after McCarthy was dismissed, essentially saying, hey, we are tired of taking orders from the Republican establishment, which is in turn taking orders from K Street, i.e. industry. What we have today is corporate socialism, and that's why somebody like the Secretary of Agriculture gets up and testifies Americans need more fat, the most idiotic thing I've ever heard, because he is a mouthpiece for the industries that benefit from that.
No earthly idea what that has to do with
It has
Kevin
everything
McCarthy.
to do with the fact that the industries control government.
Let's go to something that Hillary Clinton said yesterday. Watch.
And then you've got people running for president on the other side who say, well, we just need more guns. And the idea that you need more guns to stop people who are committing mass shootings is not only illogical, but offensive.
You know, Jane, the day that Hillary Clinton has no gun-armed protection, and the day that all these two-bit Hollywood hypocrites have no security guards that have arms protecting them, then I'll listen to what they have to say. Until then, people like me will arm themselves, and people like millions all over the country will arm themselves to protect themselves.
Look, we already have more guns than there are individuals in the United States, and every time there's another mass shooting, people arm up more. So what we're getting is a society that is overrun by guns. I don't think anybody's arguing that nobody should ever have a gun for any reason. I mean, my God, if I was living as a woman alone in a very dangerous part of town, maybe I'd even want a gun. But we know statistically that the fewer guns you have, the fewer gun deaths you have.
That's a lie.
That's not true.
That's
the statistics will show
lie.
it.
The statistics do not show that. Read More Guns, Less Crime by John Lott.
That have solved
Forget other
this
countries.
problem.
We're talking about the they confiscated
we have
guns
a
door to
Wild
door.
West mentality,
No,
and
we
that's
don't.
the problem.
No,
Look
we
at
don't.
Ben Carson saying,
No,
I
we
would have stood up to that gunman. When in fact,
Adam,
when he was actually confronted with a gunman, he actually said, you're looking for that guy over there.
Adam, the fact of the matter is, where people have guns and there are carry permits, the criminals know that the person they might go up to is armed, and gun crimes committed in those jurisdictions with an armed weapon are less because the criminal knows that the person might shoot them.
You raise a valid point, because I believe statistics does back up and show in gun-free zone areas and states that have the strictest and harshest gun laws have the highest homicide and murder rates throughout the country. But I want to comment on a point. I love these people. You know, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. I love how these politicians get up on their, soapbox and they preach to everyone about how we have to cut back on guns. The public shouldn't have weapons. But yet, as you said, Steve, they walk around with armed Secret Service people, 3, 4, 5 units of 10, fully armed with not one but 2 guns and backup weapons, so it's easy for them to say cut back on guns.
That's because there are crazy people out there armed with guns to the hilt. And all we're saying is, if you're a wackadoodle, you shouldn't be able to get your hands on a bunch of firearms and AK-47s so that you can wipe out a whole bunch of innocent people.
Everyone agrees that people that have mental illness shouldn't be getting firearms or weapons or permits. But
not everybody.
Anytime we get a mass shooting, we get the same debate, and it never changes from the left or the right. There has to be some new ground that both sides meet to possibly get some resolution in a productive manner to this issue, rather than saying no.
Well, Adam, here's the deal. Adam, here's the deal. Every law that Obama talks about, well, he doesn't talk about laws. They only say background checks, and that wouldn't have stopped any of these shootings. And when you start talking about, if someone ever went to a shrink, they shouldn't have a gun. I heard if they are ever convicted of domestic abuse or violence, you know that Adam, you're a lawyer. Domestic abuse or violence could be you banged on the couch and the woman called the police.
Now we're going to minimize domestic violence.
And that could stop someone from getting a gun because they pounded on a couch. So you got to be very careful. All right, guys, appreciate it. Adam and Jane. Oh boy, Susan Ferricchio is next with the inside scoop on why Kevin McCarthy backed out.